Are you dating a dud? Ooh, is monogamy maybe just not for you? I know that's a whole situation, and that is what we're gonna have a conversation about today, so buckle up, buttercups. It's about to get good.
Situations and conversations with Renee. Situations and conversations with Renee. Real situations, real conversations. Empowering the community leads to elevation. Entertainment and education, no better time than now. Pure enlightenment for the crowd. This is Situations and Conversations with Renee.
Hey, welcome to Situations and Conversations. I am your host, Renee. So happy that you're joining me today because the situation is all about relationships. So I have my dear friend, a relationship expert, Heidi B, with us to talk all about relationships. Heidi, it's so good to see you.
Oh, babe, it is so good to see you. I'm thrilled to be here. I cannot wait to talk all things love, dating, relationships,
And
all
then
of it.
some, right?
Yes.
And then some. So let's just jump right on into it. So many people have so many dating and relationship situations that need to have a conversation. I don't know who they're talking to or if they're talking, but we're going to do it today.
That's right.
Okay, so one of the things that keeps popping up, I don't know, in my friend groups and just I see it all over social media. Are you dating a dud?
Ooh.
And how do you know if you're dating a dud?
Well, I love this. I think there are some really clear ways that you can figure out whether or not you're dating a dud, whether or not the person is a match for you. One of the first things that's kind of an old adage that I swear by is that look, when people are back and forth about, oh, do they like me? I don't know. It's taking so long to get texts back from them. I'm getting mixed messages. Look, if they like you, you will know.
Okay.
If they like you, you will know.
Tell them straight to the camera.
Sorry.
No, because people need to really understand that. I think that we somehow seem to believe that there's confusion is kind of cool, right? Like that mysterious, does he like me? Does she like me? Do they feel me? Or, it shouldn't be all of that all the time.
No, absolutely not. I mean, one of the most fun things about being in the early stages of a relationship is when you are so hyped on someone and they're hyped on you and you guys are texting each other during the day,
Yes.
sending each other that stupid meme or whatever it is, and so it's the reality is if they like you, you will know. If you are confused, you probably have your answer, which nobody likes to hear that, but it's kind of the way that it is. So, I always say kind of trust your gut and know that if you are feeling that vibe with somebody and they're communicative and they're getting back to you, that counts. They like you. You're on the right track. But it's these days we are attached to our phones. You have access to your phone literally all the time. I used to say if you're a brain surgeon or something, maybe it's going to take you 6 to 12 hours to get back to somebody. But even a brain surgeon can have somebody send a text to them right now, right?
It's true. We've all watched Grey's Anatomy. We've seen it.
Hello.
Right there in the operating room, they'll be like, hey, can you text so-and-so and let them know I'm late for drinks?
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
So I feel there's really we are so connected. I feel there's really no excuse for super delayed response to stuff, and so I just think sometimes we can use that, somebody's job or the work they do or whatever to be oh, well, they just really committed to that. They're not really, it's look, the last time I was really hyped on somebody was the man who's my now husband.
Right.
And I would be at my desk at work texting him all the time, right?
Okay, but some people can't do
That's
that,
true.
right?
That's
Like right now,
Yeah.
if your husband texts you right now, you're not answering. You
That's
don't
right.
have your phone. So what is what do you think is an acceptable amount of time to kind of not hear from somebody who has a reasonable, job or doing stuff? I mean, really.
No, I agree. That's a good question. I really think that usually a 4 to 5 hour window is a really good good time, because typically if you have somebody who's working a really traditional job, they're working at least 4 or 5 hours and they're guaranteed a break. You're almost there's I feel there's a state law around that or something.
There is,
right?
that you have to, you're mandated. If you work at a regular company, you're supposed to take the break.
Right, a 15-minute break or something like that,
You don't
right?
even have enough time to pee.
And then on top of that, I would say, depending on how far along you are in the relationship, what kind of, discussions you've had around how you communicate, it's worth saying, hey, I'm somebody who has really high communication needs. So I just wonder, is it okay for you? Are you able to text during the day? Or is that something that I just need to be aware of, that you're busy and unable to grab your phone every 10 minutes or whatever?
When do you have that kind of conversation?
That's
you
fun.
can't have that right off the rip, right? Somebody's going to be that person might be a little needy. When do you have those kinds of conversations?
I mean, to me, these are the kind of conversations that you're having in the first 5, after probably 4 to 7 dates. Like, these are early on conversations. And the reality is, like, look, if you're somebody who has high needs around communication, that's who you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily make you needy, right? And there is like this connotation around like being highly communicative, but some people just are. So it's like, for me, if I was dating somebody and I had like high communication needs, I'd want them to know that like right off the bat.
Right.
Because that's just who I am. And like, that's part of their decision calculus about deciding whether or not like I'm good for them or not. Whether
your husband knows that because he's calling you right now. I don't know if you can hear the phone ringing. We're not picking up, hon. We're in the middle of a show. Okay.
He's like,
he's like, communicate with me now. No, okay, but no, that's really good because some people get confused, and I swear, like, I have, girlfriends who are like, I don't know. I text him last night. He hasn't gotten back to me, and it's the middle of the day the next day, and in my mind, I'm like, well, girl, please, he might be busy, but. Is he? And what's the pattern, right? Is it something that you should pay attention to more so, not a one instance, but really what's happening in the over time in the relationship?
Right.
In the span.
No, I think you're absolutely right, because if you guys are on different pages around how you communicate, that's always going to be a thorn in the side of your relationship, right? Even whether it lasts like 3 months or 12 years, like at some stage you're going to have to surface and talk about the way that you communicate with somebody.
True.
For me, I'd rather have somebody know like not everything about me, but like all here it is. Voila! But I'd rather have somebody know who I am off the bat so they can use that information to decide whether or not I'm a good fit for them than try to like manage who I am so that I get them to like me, and then like 6 months down the road, like I'm not able to keep that image. I can't manage that forever, right?
It's true. You have to be authentic.
Yeah.
You have to.
So I say authenticity out the gate is the way to go.
Love it. Now, let's talk about the situations where people feel like, well, I can change them. Or maybe I can mold them. Some people don't like to use the word change, right? I can mold them or teach them, how to behave.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
I mean, in the biz, this is what we call rehabilitating. And we do not rehabilitate anybody.
Rehabilitate?
No.
Okay, I like
right.
that.
We are not taking on projects. We are not changing somebody. We are not dating for potential. I feel like in my 20s, I used to hear guys say this all the time, like, oh, she's got potential, I'm dating. And like, I think they were probably just jokes made in bad taste, to be honest. But like, but there are some people who kind of come at relationships like that, and like, they're always going to be unhappy, right? Because the point of, getting to know somebody is getting to know who they really are and seeing whether or not you like them for who they are in this moment, right? And so if you're always thinking about who they might be and then they never become that person, like, you're not going to be very happy.
Yeah. What about the person who never can seem to meet on your time? It's always got to be their time. What's up with that? Is that a dud?
I mean, to me, that's something that it's up to you to decide. Is this like a hill you're willing to die on, right? Like, is this something that matters so much to me that like I am the one that sets the time, or that we meet in the middle? Or can I just accept that this person's schedule or character traits or whatever mean that they're always going to be 15 minutes late, or that they're always going to want to have drinks at 10 p.m. or, after their work or whatever it is. And so it's, all of these opportunities of where we get to know more information about somebody, we get to use that information to determine whether or not like it really lines up with who we are and what we want.
That's the most important piece. Who you're dating, does it line up with who you are and where you want to go?
Yeah.
I feel like those are the questions that need to be asked. Never mind how they make you, do you have all the butterflies all the time? Or, how he or she makes you feel, or how they look. I mean, important. Don't get me wrong. You have to have some kind of physical attraction. Yes.
1000%.
But that's not the most important. That's not going to sustain.
Yeah.
That's not going to sustain. So listen, speaking of sustaining, don't go anywhere because I have more questions. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about monogamy when we come back. Is it natural? I don't know. We'll talk to Heidi B in just a minute. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
For more than 40 years, Self-Enhancement Incorporated has helped thousands of at-risk youth and families in Portland. We have Libra Ford joining us, COO of SEI. Libra, what does SEI mean to you?
SEI means home to me. When I think about my physical home, the place of belonging, the shelter it provides me, the warmth, that's how I feel about SEI. It's foundational in its community. It is absolutely providing shelter against barriers. It gives people a place of belonging.
We are lucky to live in such a generous community. Oregonians want to help. What do you want to tell them about SEI?
Supporting SEI is important. It impacts all of us. Every child, every human being, the ability to stretch and be more than their circumstances Every time we provide that ability for someone, we all win.
Self-Enhancement Incorporated needs your help. A small gift today can dramatically change the trajectory of someone's life tomorrow. Visit selfenhancement.org.
Press release marketing is the solution for small business owners wearing way too many hats. We suggest you talk to a professional today about outsourcing your marketing campaigns and strategies. To book a complimentary consult, visit justpressrelease.com today.
And just like that, we're back. Thanks for watching. So excited to have you here with us because we are talking about relationships, and specifically right now, we're going to get into monogamy. Ooh, Heidi B of Heidi B Coaching is still hanging out with me. You better be, because you're better to talk about this than I am. I'm no expert. This is what you do. So let's talk about monogamy. Girl, is it natural for human beings to be monogamous, to only be with one person for the rest of their lives?
I mean, this is the juiciest topic. Like, I'm so glad we're talking about it. I feel like, we're living in a time when people are starting to ask this question and really think about what the answer to it means for them, for their families, for their partnerships, for their relationships. So it's like, there's no, one of the things I really think is important when we move through relationships, whether it's like the relationship to self or to others, is like, we have to stay curious, right? So getting curious about this question of monogamy is like the first thing that you have to do if you're curious about whether monogamy is for you, is to ask yourself, is monogamy for me? For real. Like, get real honest with yourself. Not just like, oh, wouldn't it be cute to have like 6 guys around, or wouldn't it be cute to, right? Like, no, for real, how would it feel for you to be in a partnership with somebody that was non-monogamous? Meaning not only are you not monogamous, but like they're not monogamous with you either, right? Like,
see, that part I think hangs people up.
That's the catch, I feel like.
It's like, wait a minute, I want to have all my cake and eat it too, but you can only have my cake.
Right.
You understand?
I mean,
okay,
I
so
feel
what
like
do you
that's
think,
the lens.
though?
Yeah.
Do you think that it's natural for human beings to just be with one person?
Yeah, I don't really have like a strong opinion on this. I think the thing is, like, everyone has to decide this for themselves, and that when you're thinking about that and you get more and more, like, as you get more clarity on that, I think it's important to make sure you're being honest with yourself and your partner, right? Because especially if you're already in an existing relationship, like, that is something, that's a conversation you're gonna, that's like, they may have to come here on this couch and have this conversation.
Can you imagine? I would love to bring a whole couple over here who one's thinking of having, an open relationship and the other one isn't.
Right? And so if you're coupled up already, it's important that everyone's being honest and open about it. And if you're not coupled up, it's also important to get clear on what it is that you, like, how you feel about that. So when you start dating people, you can surface and be honest about, like, hey, like, I'm just not into monogamy. Like, I'm telling you right now on date 1, so you know this about me.
Yes.
So we're not 6 months in and you're like, wait, what? Like, so, like, I think it's important to be upfront. But one of the things that I think is so awesome, especially about being like in a metro area like we are, is like there are so many resources that you can get your hands on if you are curious about monogamy or what non-monogamy might look like. So there are any number of like sex positive shops that have books about being non-monogamous. So that I would say, like, if it's something you're curious about and you're really thinking about exploring it in your own life, get your hands on some resources. Like, you would not ask somebody who's never been to where you're going for directions to that place, right? So it's important to ask people who have either been there, or therapists or mental health professionals who are familiar with the route. Like, how do we get, especially if you're looking to transition from like a monogamous partnership to a non-monogamous situationship?
Ooh, yeah, situationship. That's what this show is all about.
I mean,
situations are everywhere, especially regarding this. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have had my fill of hearing about Will and Jada Smith. Like, I don't want to hear any more about them because it's too much.
It's a lot of information.
It's really personal.
Yeah.
But some of the things, though, it made me think, like, I mean, how many people have been in an entanglement where, maybe you were in a situation where you and your partner weren't doing so hot.
Yep.
You called yourself taking a little break.
Yep.
And then someone else came along. And you found yourself in a situation.
Well, I think more people than would like to admit have had an experience where they started to like have some emotional dabbling with somebody else, right? Especially back pre-COVID, when we were working in offices for like hours out of, when we were not spending as much time with our families. It's really easy to like have your boundaries become porous around somebody that you're like flirtatious with at work, right?
Yeah.
So if you're committed to monogamy, sometimes that means that you have to be really committed to those boundaries of like, look, I don't really have like other people in my, like for me, it's like I don't have men in my life that are more than acquaintances. Like, I don't have male friends because it's important to me that I keep my boundaries really tight around what my relationship looks like with my husband, right?
Oh.
So, I think that a lot more people than really realize have had questions about this or curiosity about this. And so in some ways, the discussion that Will and Jada are bringing to, pop culture is like really informative and gives people the space to relate. Like,
That's true.
I've thought about that. And,
Yeah.
if I haven't done that, I've thought about it.
Normalize it. Like,
right?
we are human beings.
Exactly.
If you're a seeing person, you can see.
Yeah.
It's like if your eyes are attracted to what they're attracted to, but
Yes.
that doesn't mean that necessarily you should be acting on it.
That's right.
If you're in a monogamous relationship.
And you are on, and that is the commitment that you've made with your partner, right?
Right.
So one of the things I really like, there is a couples therapist out there named Esther Perel. She hosts a podcast called Where Do We Go From Here? On that podcast, she actually counsels couples who are moving through cheating scandals or through non-monogamy, kind of making this choice, and in real time, she counsels them on the podcast. One of the things I like about what she has to offer is that, no matter what the state of your relationship is, monogamous or not, no one person can fill all of our needs, right? So it is so imperative that even if you're in a monogamous relationship, you have some supporting characters in your movie, in your story, right?
Okay.
You have some friends, you have some colleagues, you have some acquaintances, you have some hobbies. And honestly, I think that is why in the COVID era, so many people are starting to struggle with what their relationships look like. And the COVID crumble is real because so much pressure got put on that primary relationship. So many of our supporting characters and cast have been put on the back. You can't go to bowling league anymore. You're not allowed to go, whatever it is.
You can't do any of the things that you used to, at least not like they were.
Yes, exactly, right? And so it puts a lot of stress on that primary relationship, and I think people are starting to kind of crack under that pressure, right? Because no one person should be checking all those boxes for you. So I guess at the end of the day, if I had to sum up my thoughts on monogamy, I would say the baseline is to be honest about it with yourself and with your partner. The second thing to do is to get your hands on some resources about how to talk about it, what it would look like, how to transition to non-monogamy. And then the third piece of it would be to just know that even if you decide to stay in a monogamous relationship, no one person is going to fill all those needs for you anyway.
That's a good point, because I think a lot of people make that mistake. They find their person and they think they're the be all and end all and are responsible for making sure they're full.
Yeah.
When really that's our own individual responsibility. However you choose to go about it, monogamous or not. Woo! Okay, man, there's so much to talk about. I want to talk to you. Maybe you have to come back, because I want to talk to you about whether or not men and women can be friends with other men and other women.
Yeah, that's a hot topic. I mean, don't threaten me with a good time. I will happily come back. You'll be kicking me out of here every time.
Never that. Oh my gosh, I love you so much. Thank you so much. Don't go away though, because I think I need you again. Coming up next, we're gonna do Hey Trey, and I think Heidi's gonna be a part of this one. So hang on.
We all deserve the opportunity to reach our full potential. Since 1981, Self-Enhancement Incorporated has been a one-stop resource for youth and families in the Portland metro area. For over 40 years, SEI has helped more than 16,000 students and families each year. SEI needs your help. Visit selfenhancement.org/donate. Your gift will change someone's life. Visit selfenhancement.org/donate to learn more.
Welcome back to Situations and Conversations. It is now time for Hey Trey. This is where you get to ask the questions. So, what you got?
Thanks, Trey. And we're back right here on MLK, the brand new preschool/childcare facility right here, Ladybug's Academy.
Hey, Trey, we're in the community again, and we have another community member that has a question for you. Let's go.
Hey, Trey, Corey here, the owner of Ladybug's Academy. And I wanted to know, is there such thing as forgiveness time in a relationship?
Corey, by the way, what's your favorite daytime talk show?
You already know, Situations and Conversations.
You heard it.
Is there such a thing as forgiveness time in a relationship?
Oh, I like this question.
Yeah, well, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad, because I'm sitting here okay, Heidi, take it.
This is such a great question about forgiveness in relationships. And I'm really glad that this is the question, because I was hoping we would get to this. A lot of times I feel like in relationships, we have this idea that intimacy is long walks on the beach and a picnic at sunset or whatever. And I have the belief that intimacy is built in the trenches, right? When things are off the rails and something has gone sideways and one of your people has surfaced and said, look, this is what I did. Maybe they didn't even, maybe they got caught. Maybe they felt guilty and told you. Maybe whatever. Maybe a girlfriend busted them. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Something comes to light that requires forgiveness. This is an opportunity to surface, to turn to one another, and to start to assess what are we going to do? How is this worth rebuilding? And the reality about that is that those deal breakers that we have when we're 19, 20, oh, if he did this, I would be out,
Right,
or whatever,
right.
Those aren't the same when we're 40 and we've built a life together and we have a mortgage and 2 cars and 3 kids and six whatever, dogs.
Don't forget the dog.
Whatever,
Yeah, I was gonna say, gotta get the dog in there.
Right? So I'm not saying that lets whoever made the transgression, like that lets them off the hook, but I'm saying that the way that you approach that is different when there is like that much experience together, and that what happens there is we have to start asking ourselves. Actually, I ask my clients to do this all the time. It's a great tool. I ask everybody that's in a partnership to make a list of ideals. So you do it on your own. Everybody gets to make their own like unlimited ideals list of like what their perfect partner would look like, all that stuff. And then I also ask people to come together with partners and make a partnership ideals list. So in an ideal world, what does our marriage look like? In an ideal world, what does our boyfriend, girlfriend status look like? What do we do together? All that stuff. And then we look at that partnership ideals list and we go, okay, how can we start to embody these values? So if together, you and your person, whoever it is that's like asking for forgiveness, you guys decide like, oh, in an ideal world, we'd be more spontaneous because part of this transgression occurred because I just like feel like we're doing the same thing every day, working from home, shutting the computer down, going to the couch, eating the chips, watching, I speak from experience, right? Like I'm doing the same thing every day. It's boring, right? So if me and my partner are committed to spontaneity, then like, are we starting to embody that? Are we starting to go, oh, hey, let's take a road trip? Whatever we can do within the parameters of this experience right now to be a little more spontaneous, right? And then the secondary question is like, is what we have worth having these difficult conversations about? Is what we have worth some hurt feelings and saying like, okay, like we're gonna work on forgiveness, but like for now, you're sleeping upstairs, I'm sleeping downstairs, we gotta have some boundaries, no more of this behavior, I'm not doing this anymore, you're not doing that, whatever it is, right? So it's just I think that when the space of forgiveness comes up in relationships, it gives us an interesting opportunity to start to assess like, what are the real deal breakers now? It's okay if they don't look like your old deal breakers. It's okay that you've changed. It's not it doesn't make you soft that like at 15 you would walk out on somebody and that at, your boyfriend at 15 and that at 43 you have different ideas about who whatever. But it means like getting really real about the assessment of like what it is that you want to preserve and what is worth fighting for, what you want that relationship to look like, and how you can start to set some boundaries to move forward.
What you asking me for? This needed to be a hey Heidi as far as I'm concerned. Thank you, girl. You guys need to connect with Heidi B. Heidi B coaching. Get with her. She has the answers. All right, we'll be right back with Artist Spotlight. Don't go away.
SEI has been a pillar in this community for 40 years. Our roots run deep, with thousands upon thousands of lives changed for the better. If 4 decades has taught us one thing, it's that we are resilient, and no matter the challenge, we will
Press
show up
release
for our
marketing
people.
is the solution
We
for
pivot,
small business
we
owners
adapt,
wearing way too
and we
many
serve with
hats.
excellence.
We suggest you
40
talk to a
years is just the
professional
beginning.
today about
Come see what's
outsourcing your
next.
marketing campaigns and strategies. To book a complimentary consult, visit justpressrelease.com today.
Urban League of Portland presents COVID Conversations.
Booster shots versus third doses. So, third doses are for people who have weakened immune systems, people who have cancer, HIV, or take medications for rheumatoid diseases that cause their immune systems to be weakened. Booster shots are for everybody else. So currently, if you're 18 and older, you should get a booster shot if your second dose of the mRNA vaccines was at least 6 months ago. Or alternatively, if you had the Johnson & Johnson and more than 2 months ago, get a booster shot.
COVID Conversations are brought to you by Urban League of Portland, empowering Black communities in Portland and Southwest Washington since 1945. For more information, head to ulpdx.org. Hey, we're back with Situations and Conversations, and now it is time for Artist Spotlight. Now, normally we highlight local artists, but today I'd like to take it back to my hometown of the Bay Area and highlight somebody special. Asa and Javen from P-Town Media, who's in the spotlight.
Thanks, Trey. And as you can see, we are here in the P-Town Media Studios, and we reached all the way down to the Bay Area to bring out a celebrity. We reached into the celebrity bag just for you on this week's Artist Spotlight.
This week's Artist Spotlight, we have an amazing artist, Adrian Marcel, who first hit the Billboard charts in 2014 with the hit single 2 a.m., which featured Sage the Gemini, which went to sell over 1 million copies. Situations and Conversations. Please help me welcome writer, singer, actor, Adrian Marcel.
Don't y'all go nowhere.
I've been thinking all night that I just can't get it right. We fight crossing our lines, just can't get it right. Cause I could ice your wrist, flood you out with diamonds, but you stay on my questioning where I've been. I give you my time, my attention undivided, but you say I'm on the line, thinking that I'm undecided. Baby, in my bag, she don't even know. Baby, so emotional, she can't seem to let it go. Baby, got me in my bag, she don't even know. Baby, so emotional, she can't seem to let it go. I'm so in it, but you can't tell, cause you so damaged, and I can't help, cause I could ice your wrist, flood you out with diamonds, but you stay on my questioning where I've been. I give you my time, my attention undivided, but you say I'm on the line, thinking that I'm undecided. Baby, got me in my bag, she don't even know. Baby, so emotional, she can't seem to let it go. Baby, got me in my bag, she don't even know. Baby, so emotional, and she can't seem to let it go.
That was an amazing performance by Adrian Marcel, In My Bag. You can find the hit single on all streaming platforms.
Man, make sure y'all tune in to some of his music as well as some of the work that he has on BET with the El DeBarge story. So make sure y'all tune in to that as well. Hey, back to you, Trey.
Woo, what a blessing. Thank you so much to Adrian Marcel, our Artist Spotlight. Oh my gosh, make sure you get that album. It's coming out next month. That's in February. In My Bag. Make sure you get it. Put it in your bag. Do whatever you got to do. All right. And thank you to my guest today, my special guest, Heidi B of Heidi B Coaching. Always so wonderful to have her here and impart her wisdom. And thank you guys for watching. I so love and appreciate you for that. God willing, we'll be back together again in a week. Until then, make sure you take excellent care of yourselves as well as other people. When you think me, think we. And when you think you, think too. See ya. Special thanks to our presenting sponsor, Self-Enhancement, Inc., Youth Potential Realized. And thanks to our friends at Peace Health, Urban League of Portland, Holla, and Home Place Furniture and Design. Situations and Conversations with Trey Renee is a Bum Juice Entertainment production in conjunction with Thomas Chung Films, Keytown Media, Press Release Marketing, Robin Allen Style, and Hype Her Ventures.
Real situations, real conversations. Empowering the community leads to elevation. Entertainment and education, no better time than now.
Situations and Conversations with Trey Renee, Saturdays at 10 a.m. on Fox 12 Plus.
Situations and Conversations with Trey Renee. Situations and Conversations with Trey Renee. Real situations, real conversations.